finally a topic that my coach would be an expert to discuss. Okay, finally a topic he can discuss, going from failure to being a failure. Okay, or you can interchange those, going from being a failure to being a failure. Yes, and so we know he was a failure in society. Well, of course, we know he was a failure in the school system when he dropped out and started running in the streets. We know he was a failure to the community when he started stealing and robbing from his own neighbors. Okay, certainly he was a failure to Grandma Lily. Considering what she invested into him in his upbringing, and for him to kick down her door for the sake of getting money for drugs. Of course, that was a failure to his Grandma Lily. Later, he became a further failure to her when he assigned her to be an employee and work harder than ever on that Resurrection Ranch. We know he's an ongoing failure with Megan. He's an ongoing failure with Megan as far as being a husband, as far as being a true husband, a supportive husband, as far as being a rock that she can lean on, as far as not forcing her to be complicit with this hustle that is the IAG. Okay. And of course, we know he's been a failure with regard to those boys. Okay. With regard to trying to have these boys skip over their childhood, enjoy their childhood, and trying to force them to be men, or even trying to force them to be young men. Okay. Of course, he's been a failure to those boys. He's been a failure to those boys as far as demonstrating to those boys what it's like to support your family. Okay, considering that my coach relies on donors, he relies on gifts, he relies on tips, offerings, tithes, whatever you want to call them. Okay, considering that he relies on that stuff in order to support his family, what kind of example is that for the boys? So I would say he's a failure with regard to demonstrating what it's like to be a strong male role model. Okay, a supposed successful male role model, being a pillar as a father in that family. So he's been a failure to those boys, etc., 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 etc. But so now, considering all the heaps of failure that my coach and y'all's pastor has accumulated over the last decade plus, okay, if he accumulates that much failure and to the point where he can't get out of his own way, okay, just like all these trash piles that are stacked up around the IAG farm, okay, eventually they get in the way. You can't get out of the way of them, okay. And coach, he talked about he's going to rent a dump, and I'm like, okay, coach. He said he's going to rent a dump so that he could dispose of some of these trash piles.